Learning is the key to successful investing, and who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
and follow us on all social media platforms at Learn, Grow, Invest.
All right, hope everybody is doing well. So I was partially waiting to see what Dolphin Cove would do as it relates to dividends. And so when I saw the notice today about a meeting to consider dividend, I was like, okay, let's see how things develop here, right? So at a board meeting scheduled for Friday, May 30th, 2025, the directors will consider the payment of an interim dividend. Now, what we have learned, I can't remember the company recently, but there was a company that considered a dividend, and then when they met, they're like, okay, there's no way we can do this. So a consideration is not a guarantee to pay dividends. Let me just get that out of the way. But this is what I was anticipating after we saw the audited financials come out, right? So since that came out, we saw how much they would have made. And then from then we were able to kind of say, well, okay, oh, I missed their annual report. I should read that. How did I miss this? They're unaudited for Q1. How did I miss this? All right, so I need to go through this as well, because I need to see how their Q1 is, but I'll focus on 2024 first, and then I will look at the Q1 because I don't remember seeing Q1. Oh, yes, I did. I think somebody shared it. And I will go through their annual report. There's a lot to go through here, right? I think Kirk is saying Omni did that. Okay. All right. So yes, it was Omni who said they're gonna consider it, and then we're like, okay, that's not gonna work. Okay, cool. So let's focus on 2024 first, right? Because of course, well, let's actually take it all the way back. I have their dividend policy coming out of their prospectus. I'm gonna go all the way back, right? So this, I believe, was from 2011, 2010 when they listed. So their dividend policy says that if the company gains admission to the junior market on the JSE, the directors intend to pursue a liberal dividend policy. I note the word liberal there, which anticipates an annual dividend equivalent to not less than, right, 25% of net profits available for distribution, subject to the need for reinvestment in the group from time to time. Now, the reason why I go back to here, because we have seen them pay some significant dividends that exceed way more than 25%. So that 25%, you notice they said not less than, right? Some companies say a dividends of up to. So they say the minimum is 25%. Some companies say up to 25% or up to 40% or up to 50. So in their case, they're saying you can expect a minimum of 25% here, right? And I think that's for multiple reasons. Won't get into that now, right? So 25%. So we're gonna do some math here. So fair warning, this session is gonna contain some math. All right. So let's go to their audited numbers. So 2024, because that's what we're waiting on for a while. So their report is in US dollars. So the first thing we look at is retained earnings. So the company has been profitable a number of years. Retained earnings stands at 10 million US dollars, right? So there is cash there. Cash and cash equivalents, 1.4 million US. And of course, we'll go through this maybe another time, but usually for dividends, you look at cash, you look at profits they made last year, you do some quick calculation based on dividend policy as to how much you're likely to pay. Now, so let's go straight to the P&L, right? Because we're going to look at what that 25% number will look like, right? So for 2023 first, they did 7 million US in comprehensive income for the year. That's a big number, right? And we saw for 2023, 2024, they paid a very aggressive dividend, right? From, I think, 2023, June, July to about same period for 2024, they paid, I think, a 60-cent dividend per quarter, right? So that 60-cent dividend per quarter that we see here, right, from June here to even going as far back as here, but since that's more than a year, I'll do 2023 to here, right? So we saw 40 cents, 80 cents, 60 cents, 60 cents. So this is $2.40, right? So $2.40 here means over this period. Now I think their year is from January to December, if I'm not mistaken, because this Q1 ended March. Yeah. So Q1, if Q1 is March, then the year is January to December. And so this, of course, would have been I'd have to look at the report as to how they're paying it, but I'm assuming that they would have started paying here based on what they knew they were going to be making. But I'm just going to check the report to see how they paid, meaning if they're paying what they pay in 2024 is based on 2023 earnings, or are they kind of paying as they go? So that's what I'll check in the audited numbers. And of course, looking at how much they would have paid out just in these 4 payments, right? So when you look at the 2.4 here that they paid, $2.40 multiplied by the shares outstanding here, which would be 392,426,376. They would have paid 941 million in dividends. If you usually I do the calculation for US at 155, so they've paid 6 million US for these 4 payments, right? For the last 4 dividend payments, 6 million US. So if you look at what they made in 2023, if you're saying, or if you're looking at maybe them paying it from this year, they would have paid out a very high percentage of that, right? So that's why I'm going to look in it to see what they would have paid. So I'm going to look to see if the ones I paid in 2024 for those 2 quarters are included in this one, but it should be, right? Let me just find that. Dividends, transactions with company, also company dividends, so 23. This is what we're looking for. So probably I need to calculate what was paid in 2024. Is there a part where they break down when they paid each dividend? Dividends paid. So dividends paid for 2024 is listed as 2.9 million. So that would have been a portion of the payment there. 2.99437. Multiply that. I'm going to use 155, but again, that may not be the best number, and then divide it by 362,436. Am I remembering the number? 392,426. 426, 376. So that would be two other payments. Okay, so what they paid for 2024 is recorded on the 2024 statements, right? So that amount would have been the 2 million, but you'd have noticed then they would have paid out this amount for 2024, 4 million for 2023. Yes, so that gives us the 6+ million that we calculated there, right? From that. So I just wanted to show that now. David Rose, of course, sent me some information here that I'll go through. He said Well, this is for 2023. Okay, so that's the 4 million he sent me. Same thing that I'm seeing here. So that's what he sent me. Because he sent me some info for 2018, 2019. I don't think we need to go that far back. Anything a company does before the pandemic, I'm not really counting, right? Laughable. Oh, okay, so paper plate, this is USD, you know. So when you say it's laughable, 2.9 million USD is what they paid, right? Not JMD. So if you multiply it by the USD, they paid a $464 million dividend paper plate, not a 2 million Jamaican, it's USD. So bear that in mind. So it's not a laughable dividend. it's actually pretty good, right? It was pretty good anyway, right? And they would not have announced any from here, right? So from June of last year, they would not. So it's almost a year since they've announced a dividend, right? So what I was thinking, and this is what I'm going through, we certainly can't look at the number that they made last year as to the number that they're likely to pay from, because let's say they choose to pay all of the profits that they made last year, because I'm thinking they may use more cash than they earned here. So I'm kind of trying to do some estimates, because I think the 25% is not what they're going to pay more than that, I think, because we've seen, and based on what David Rose sent me, they would have paid more in profits. They would have paid more in dividends for 2023 than they made in profits. So the question is now just how much they will pay, right? So I'm thinking, and this is my kind of estimate. So it is an interim dividend here. So I'm thinking, let's say they pay, if I do the calculation of them taking all of their profits from last year and paying a dividend with that, again, I use the 155 here, divided by, keep on forgetting this number, 392,426,376. Then that would be, oh, this is in, am I calculating this right? This would be 70 cents total in terms of dividend for the year. So maybe they split that in 2 or 3, I don't know. So this could be like a 24 cent dividend per quarter. I don't know if that's how they'll do it, which is why I want to see how they did for Q1, because I don't think I looked at the numbers here. I think I did, but I don't remember. Right? So yes, I did. I remember now. Profit for the period 859. Yes, I remember that profits were down, and I believe they said that visitors were down as well. If I'm remembering correctly, yeah, 25% decrease. I remember this amount, right? But they're likely, I think, since they did have a profitable quarter, to maybe still pay a dividend. Now, as to how much or whether it will be attractive as it was before, that I don't think will be the case. Before 2024 here, we saw like a consistent 40-cent dividend going back to 2021. So I'm thinking it'll be a 30-cent or a 40-cent dividend, which will be, so if they do 30 cents here, I should know this by now, right? If they do 30 cents, that would be 117 million, which when you convert that to US will be just about 759,000. And as you saw for their Q1, they made 859. So they would have at least been able to pay cash and cash equivalents 1.3 million US here. So they could pay let's say 75% of that in a dividend, right? So that's kind of where I'm thinking, like a 30 cents is what they may pay. Now, of course, the question is, what yield does that look like, right? So them trading at about, right here is 11.72. So 30 cents divided by 11.72, that would be at 2.5%. Of course, this will be part of it, right? So interim means there it's not final. They may pay more within the year. So if they continue to hold the same trend in terms of revenues, or maybe it increases as the quarters go, maybe they will be able to either pay 30 cents per quarter, maybe 20 cents per quarter, and still get to, again, that full amount. So if they do 30 cents per quarter and do $1.20 for the year, then that would be, I think, a 10% yield, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 10% yield. So if their profits hold per quarter and they get to the 3.2 million US for the year, but we know the December quarters are typically negative for them until, I think, things turn there. The first 3 quarters is where a chunk of the money comes from for them. So it's kind of interesting. We will see what they do, but I knew that the audited numbers would have to come out first before they made a decision on dividend. So I'm happy to see that there's progress there. Now, there's still a lot of issues with this company that remain, but of course, them announcing that they're considering is certainly something that those who are holding the stock for dividends are happy to see, right? So Spence is asking if I'm buying back shares. So it's an interesting question, right? Because great question. Paper Plate is asking long-term and short-term debts. Current liabilities, accounts payable is 2.3 million US. That's short-term. So certainly they would need to meet that. Current portion of long-term liabilities, long-term liabilities are actually not bad. So the short-term accounts payable, that is something that they will need to focus on for the year, because accounts payable is due within the year. Long-term liabilities are actually low, comparatively, of course, and they do have retained earnings to be able to pull from. But interestingly enough, we're doing the dollar earnings call, and Trevine was asked, how they pay dividends. Do they pay it from retained earnings, or they pay from net profits? And what Trevine said, which I think is a good point, that company, what they do as Dollar Financial is try to pay within profits and not try to pay from retained earnings, because they don't want to be decreasing that. But we've seen them pay more in dividends than they've made in profits for the entire year. So it is entirely possible for them to try to maintain a certain amount in terms of a dividend. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. So Kirk says the market is a cycle. If you still have faith in them, buy more shares, but you should always protect your capital. Oh, you're speaking to Dwayne here. So Dwayne says, sir, I'm no longer excited about the stock market as wealth builder. I even stopped buying IPO because the last 5 to 7 are below IPO price. Even Spur Tree gone down, JFP's on 50 cents, pure losses. So Dwayne, I have a question for you. What is your expectation of buying into the stock market to build wealth? I think you're missing some steps there, right? Because an IPO is an introduction of the company to the market. Do you expect that you buy stocks and you hold them and they keep going up and never go down? So just like Kirk is saying, the market is a cycle. Those companies that you mentioned, Spur Tree, JFP, etc., they gave you profits above IPO price. It would have been your duty now to take those profits, lock them in at least, and then you have no control over the stock price, really. But Spurtree at one point, I think, was 200%, almost 300%. So to me, Spurtree did well coming out of the IPO, but it's now 3 or 4 years later. Market forces, different things will impact companies long term. So I wouldn't consider those as IPOs anymore. They're well past that stage. They've been listed for many years, and their performance has not been anything to phone home about. That's why they're performing the way that they are. So you can't say, well, I bought this IPO and 5 years later it's down. If you look at VMIL, they're back to IPO price, but it went as high as 400, 500% up. So to me, that performed well, because if you held it to that point, 400% on your money as a return, then you lock that in, you move on. But you can say, well, maybe in the last year, maybe the last 2 years, it hasn't performed well. Sure. But as an IPO, I wouldn't say they didn't perform well if they were able to give investors a certain percentage of return, right? I can't wait out this cycle. Some companies' price will never go back up. Yeah, for sure. And that's just business though, right? So again, different companies, different segments, different performance, and you have to invest based on the market. It can't just be a blind purchase. Just because something is an IPO doesn't mean you buy, right? Hopefully that helps. So Spence is asking me if I'm buying back shares. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I will say I expect the price to move tomorrow on the dividend consideration. So I'm expecting at least a 5 to 10% increase in price tomorrow. Certainly. Because of the consideration, because those who are holding it for dividends, especially if you think they're going to be paying even up to $1, even if they pay not even $1.20, but if they pay, let's say, 60 cents, that's still 5% dividend. That's better than 70-80% of the entire market that pays dividends. So at this price, if they pay a 60-cent dividend, meaning if they pay 30 cents now and 30 cents 3 months or 6 months from now. Oh yes, thank you. It closed tomorrow, so Monday. I do expect the price to move on Monday if investors remember. But guys, I didn't remember. It's yes, it is closed tomorrow. It would be great if it was open though. I don't see why we have to close market because it's a holiday, but that's another day. I do expect on the next trading day, we'll see some movement here, at least a 5 to 10% increase, especially if usually companies respond within a week or so. If they announce a healthy dividend, 30, 40, 50 cents, then you could very well see this get back to maybe $14 or $15 thereabout, as that would be a very attractive dividend based on the yield. And then investors may just trade that for the dividend, not necessarily worried about it long term, but getting the dividend and maybe moving on from there, right? So that's still an option to look at depending on what they announce. So we may see some of these losses being recovered, and not that all is now secure or safe with them, but once you hold the shares by X date, dividend is announced, you are owed that dividend. So to get 5% or so on your money within 30 days is a reasonable proposition, right? So there's that. So Dwayne says, what I'm really saying is that the last 5 IPOs begin to lose ground immediately. But Dwayne, what climate are you in right now? So you have to look at that. Gibson, be realistic. I mean, it depends on the queue. I'm not saying it's impossible to gain $4, but remember there's multiple trading days. So it's gonna be an opportunity for sure, I think, especially with the dividend consideration. And it's been trading, right? 124,000 units there. So it's trading for sure. Volumes have actually picked up here. So as there has been opportunities, because from the 11th here to maybe the 14 here, that's what 20-30% in that month. So there has been opportunities since everything started earlier this year. I'm not showing my screen, but not talking one day, give it till X date. Oh no, man! It's if they do announce a healthy dividend, I'd say you could see very well more than $4, because again, if you're looking at, if you're taking investors going for dividends and they announce a healthy dividend, there's nothing to stand in the way of these losses being wiped out, and for persons to get both cap gains and dividends in the short term, and then maybe persons to see. So David says the market is low now, buy hold for the long term easily. Well, I mean, I'm very happy with my portfolio and how it has been performing. I made some new purchases recently. I got a healthy dividend from Trans Jamaica. Was able to take some other positions, and they've already started to show growth. So I can't complain. And so, yeah, it's gonna gain more than $4. If the dividend is healthy, more than $4 gain, it's more than realistic there. Might even halt up, who knows, right? Some of us have unrealistic expectations of some of these IPOs. To be honest, half the companies are not stock market ready based on their growth rate and nature of their business. Which companies are you referring to in terms of not stock market ready? Let me know which one you're talking. So Spence, I don't know. I don't remember if I answered you, but I don't know. This does present an opportunity. So I don't know, but some of the things, I think David shared a post in the group that the parent company had, like, there has been so many things shared. I'm really being turned off by the company. So I don't think so. I may even stop talking about it depending on some more things that I hear. So I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna buy. I don't think I'm gonna buy. I think I made some money from it, certainly. Those dividends were amazing when I was getting them. Overall made a profit since I initially invested back in 2023. So at this point I'd say no. At this point I'd say no. I don't think I'm leaning towards buying it. It's hard to resist the trade, Spence. Hard to resist the trade, meaning I see it. Like, I can see the price going up. I can see a reasonable dividend being announced. It's like the obvious trade, but I don't know. That this one may have to pass me, just because of everything that's there with the company. This one may have to pass me. I have other things that I am looking forward to getting more of, and so I'm gonna focus there, because there is some opportunities that I'm looking forward to. Sean, I was waiting for Sean. I wish you were backstage. How are you feeling, Sean? What are your thoughts on Dolphin Cove, sir? Dividend possibly being dividend being considered, dividend possibly being announced. I was waiting to hear from you, Sean. So your comments, sir. All right. Are we talking about paper plates? Spurtree, I create Atlantic Hardware, the list goes on. Image. I'm not following you. Paper plates. Oh, you're talking about the same thing about unrealistic expectations? I don't think so. Because again, Image Plus listed what, 2+ years ago? And does that even I don't think of those companies as IPOs anymore. They're companies that are on the market. You do what you invest according to their quarter-over-quarter performance or their overall performance or their future outlook, right? I think because every single company, well, most companies that listed were an IPO at some point. So to frame it as the IPO not doing well, I think after the first year or two, I no longer think about it as an IPO, just a company that's listed, and I trade accordingly, right? Let me just check something here 1 second. All right. I have not looked at Massey in a while. I need to check them out. What are your thoughts? You tell me. Is there anything I need to look at? JLC gonna halt every JC gonna halt the stock at every upward trend of it. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to get your thoughts. I don't know if anybody saw the JTrader Pro upgrades today. Did everybody watch that? What are your initial thoughts about it? I wanted to talk about that. So what do you guys think? Tell me some of your thoughts. I won't share my thoughts yet. I'm gonna be looking. I'm gonna be doing a full review when the platform upgrades. So we've done a video before on JTrader. So I'm going to be going through to see, just each section that's different. So let me share my screen again. So we did a video along with David Rose a couple of years ago, back when I was younger. So we went through this video and we're able to go through just different areas of the platform. This one we pre-recorded because I had to blur some screen, etc. So what I did ask them today is for a demo account. So hopefully I get the demo account and I'm able to do another video. And so we went through this. So if anybody, well, this video is going to become invalid in a couple of days. So I wanted to know who saw the video today. And let me go to the part where they're showing the demo. Can I show parts of it? Okay. Can I share audio here? Let's just watch. Let me do that. Let me see if I can share sound. 1 second. I haven't done this before. Let me see if I can do it. It's an also share tab audio. It's actually automatic. Okay. All right. So I'm going to try and play it for a little bit and see if we can just watch the part with the demo. Hopefully this goes well. Let me know if you can hear it or not. So Gonna go from here. Are you hearing the audio? Tell me if you're hearing the audio. No audio. I'm not sure how to share audio. I'm gonna try and figure it out. All right, so I'm gonna try and figure this out. This is why you plan these things, right? So I go to present, I'm sharing screen. It says also share tab audio. So it should, also share my system audio. Okay, I think I have it now. You should be able to hear it now. Let me try again. Okay. So let me know if you can hear when it plays.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the newly designed dashboard. Very dynamic, and it features at a glance the active accounts, your active orders, your most recent trades, price alerts, watch lists that you can use to set up the stocks that you wish to monitor, the stock movements for for all the stocks that traded for the day, and of course, news items. Now, you can pop out the various windows to see more details. And if you want to see details, and at a glance here, it tells you the account that you have added, the fund balance, the available balance, the total, and the funds held. And the funds held here represents any orders that you may have in the system currently, or if you have a funds out or funds in request. Now, this is a more detailed display of your account on the various accounts that you may have. You can look at all the funds requests that you would have done, the stocks owned, if you can see the stocks owned, and what is owned, what is available. And of course, if you have any transactions on the stocks, then you can see that as well. Just a performance graph, just to show you the overall portfolio value. And you can set up trade alerts. So if you do execute transaction on your specific account and there's a trade, an email will be sent to you. If you do not wish to use this account or you want to temporarily disable access to this particular JCSD account, then you have the ability to disable. Those features existed already, right? In terms of active orders, right, you can see all your active orders at a glance. Of course, if you are an active trader and you want to see orders beyond 30 days, then of course you can filter and search. So I have a few active orders here that are queued. If I want to see the details, I click the I. I will see all the details at a glance, the estimated transaction cost, and of course, all the audit trail will show all the actions taken on the particular order. I can go back here. Right? If I need to, I can also edit this.
All right, so I'm realizing I can just link the video. You guys can watch it. I'm not just, I don't need to be showing it the whole time. So, I mean, I wanted to hear what you guys thought of it, right? So the upgrade is going to go live on Monday. That's what they said. Monday is when they're planning. So my first my first hope is that when they do the switch over, everything goes well, everything works, everything goes smoothly. Because what I've seen, and this is what I'll say just based on the comments I've seen from persons who have, commented on the upgrade so far, they said something that's the JC that I noted very, very clearly is that look at this as a work in progress, right? And I thought that was important to say because I think what persons don't understand when you work on something, when you build something, and then the masses see it, you're going to get feedback and you may likely need to make some tweaks. I remember when we were called in to look at the JMB app. I think it was a couple of years back, so I don't even remember if it was for the app or for some Moneyline upgrades. And a few of us as persons in the space gave feedback, XYZ. It took them some time to get it to the version that persons see and use today. So I think what I'll say is that person should look at this as an opportunity to try the platform, give them feedback to help to improve the things that you want to see do better, and not necessarily just assume it won't work well or assume that things won't go a certain way. I mean, this is a platform that we all use to be able to make money from. So it is something that we need to have the mindset of. It's a work in progress. It's something that's going to be iterative, and any app that you love on the market now did not start where it is. So if you like JMB version 1 is not where what it was today. So give things time. This is their first upgrade, I think, in years. And so, for me, I just want to try it, see what I can do, see what I can't do. It is going to be a learning curve because, I'd say I thought that the version that we use now, I don't think it's the first version. The version that we use now was pretty straightforward and basic, but you're able to do certain things that you want to do. Now, I can say I'm happy about being able to see all the trades because I used to have to go to Moneyline to view the trades for the day, and then 12 o'clock JMB resets that. So one of the things I asked is, will the trade information be there permanently? And they said, yes, I'm very happy about that. So even if that's the only takeaway for me in terms of a win, I'm happy with that. Now, there are other things that I'll comment on based on my experience with them, but that's why I asked for the demo account. That's why I'm waiting to see how it performs, etc. Because using something in testing versus production is completely different. And so, Oral says, I think it's good. Just hope they improve the candlestick graphs. As I said to the person who asked that today, that's not going to be their focus, right? The candlestick charts for me is not going to be a focus for them. It's just, I don't think so, but I mean, we'll see. 10 years to work on it. It could have been better, but it's progress. I would put there. I've been working on this upgrade for 10 years. I wouldn't say that. And I think they've had like some minor upgrades over the years, because I remember them doing an upgrade a couple of years ago. So it wasn't 10 years to get here, but I get what you're saying. Is this the start of something greater with JTrader? Maybe they'll just be the first to implement shorting with stop losses and profit. So what I take this as is just a facelift. There's no new functionality that was added here. This is a facelift. So you have they clearly tried to implement more color. They tried to, I guess, give you certain information. The mobile app was demoed as well. I'm happy about the fact that you can now buy and sell in the mobile app. I thought that was kind of something that should have been there a while now. So I am happy that I can now log into the app and buy without having to go to a desktop and that stuff. So baby steps, right? But I'll do a full review, of course, after I get my demo account and so on, right? So my thought on day traders is that they should give us more tools. Absolutely, I agree with that for sure. For me, I'm very interested in data. I love to crunch numbers, do analysis, etc. So more tools to do that is great. It needs a dark mode for sure, for sure. And the candlestick isn't theirs. It's external library, so I doubt there'll be changes. Well, I mean, they can certainly, there are ways to improve the candlestick, is what I'll say, Sean. There are ways to do that. Is JMMB brokerage not available? No, I asked that specifically. So remember, that's a choice that JMMB makes to have their platforms separate. That's a choice. Sure, JSC would allow everybody to be there. Because again, I don't think they have a preference where people buy, because they're still going to get their fees, even if you buy on Moneyline. I'm happy to see the halted time and end time as well. That's great to see. And other things. As I said, I'll go through it some more, after I have my account. But it was good to be there. Yes, we were on camera. My wife and I, Matthew from Limitless Podcast was there as well. So he asked some great questions in terms of things that he would want to see. And yes, I was there. Hope my manager didn't see me. Well, I think that was after work. So I think I'm good. All right. So yes, I wanted to talk about that as well, just to see if anybody saw it and get your initial feedback. I know how these things are. We're very, unfortunately, I think, we don't respond to change in the best way in general as a people, I'd say. And I say that because I remember when we were launching our new community platform, there are persons who are like, Telegram is fine, we don't need a new community, everything is good. So I mean, there are times when we don't want to have anything different than what we're used to, right? I'm mindful of that. There's also the case where I remember all the criticisms, all the things about, no, Sean, that's the thing. You're saying if it ain't broken, why fix it? That's not the case. I've heard people complain about JTrader Pro for years of all the things they'd like to see and the improvements they'd like to see, etc. So that's the point I'm making here. There are persons who have had thoughts or complaints or suggestions. So the company is saying that they've taken feedback and they're taking steps to try to head in that direction. Like, to me, that's what you want persons to do. When we did the change, as I said, because when we looked at our Telegram group, the number one thing persons used to complain about is, I can't keep up with all the messages. We used to hear that for years. And no matter how we say to persons, well, that's why we created the channels. We tell persons, don't get overwhelmed. Just read the messages you can read, etc., etc. We heard that maybe 100, 200 times over like a 2 to 3 year span. So we heard it so much that we started to look externally for something better. And so we made a step to pay for a platform to give persons, access to a free community to solve a problem for persons who just, didn't like the volume of messages they were getting. So I say that to say, when you provide a product or a service, your desire is to please the persons who use it, right? Regardless of the platform, the JSC still makes money, but this is showing you that at least they're taking the step to go into the direction of making something that is more pleasing to those who are using it, right? So, I mean, that counts for something for me, right? And I wasn't, invited to test it or give any feedback on it or anything like that. But I'm trusting that there were persons who, well, I'm hoping that there were persons who would have, given feedback as a part of the process. And with software or web development projects, you can't do something once and think that it's done. Again, I'm thinking it will be an iterative process. Hopefully it doesn't take this long to see any upgrades, but certainly they've mentioned their intent to keep working on it, add features, etc. Right? The only issue I've experienced so far with JTrader Pro are the glitches that happens at times. We'll often see multiple entries in the buy and sell order, and I imagine that may still happen from time to time. It's just, again, I use NCB online banking. There are times when I'm on there and I can't do a transfer. I use, different apps for different things. There are times when applications do not work. Even Microsoft 365 that millions, possibly billions of people use on the planet still has bugs and things that need to be solved. So I just think if you look at things as a work in progress, you're more, just, give feedback. Of course, if you don't like it, you should say. If you think something can be better, you should say. But I think if we have the perspective of just giving feedback, giving them an opportunity to fix it, then you can, be a part of something that's headed somewhere, right? The part that I'm looking forward to is the part about API. Hopefully in a few months when I deposit to my brokerage account, it will show. Exactly. So those are the things I'm looking forward to. The functional upgrades, because as I said, I think most of what we saw was more focused on the look and feel, because there's no new functionality per se that was shared here, but there are things, it sounds like, that are being worked on. I spoke to them about the data sphere as well, what that could mean, and just some other services that they're planning to roll out. So this seems to be the first step in a number of things that they're hoping to do. And so, again, as I said, I'm just hoping that when Monday comes, everything goes well, because I know if it doesn't go well, you're gonna hear, persons who were skeptical say, this is what they were, worrying about, etc. But again, we've seen platforms when IPOs come out or the first day of trading, there are issues. So things happen, guys, right? Again, I'm going to go through it fully after I do get my account, and so I'll share my thoughts at some point, I'm sure. All right. There are other things I want to talk about, but I'm trying to keep this within an hour. But yes, final thing I'll mention here. I spoke to Alexander Melville from Tropical Battery, because I had an investor briefing. I'm hoping to see the recording soon, because it was actually, because Sagicor is a co-broker, I didn't see that they had an email that they sent out to team members to be able to see the stream. Otherwise, I would have joined it. I didn't see it until the next day, but I was able to go there and talk to him, because we did a review of the APO prospectus in our challenge community on Saturday. So those of you who saw that, we did our forecast. We did some calculations based on the estimate that they shared. We talked about what's the likely dividend they would pay and some other things. And we had an interesting conversation about the offer, what things look like for them in terms of, raising funds, why they had to do it that way. We had a great conversation. I'm not sure I can share everything that we discussed yet. Maybe, I'll wait until the offer closes, or when we get him for an interview, he can share it himself. But I really valued the conversation. It helped fill some gaps for me from when I did the analysis on Saturday. So yes, the new upgrades will come on stream on Monday. That's what they said. Sean says, if you're doing a refresh, you'd have upgrades released with new look. Just doing a refresh with no added value is unnecessary. I know new things are coming, but okay, I see what you're saying. But so here's the thing. I get what you're saying, but I still think what they try to do here with some things are welcomed. As I said, being able to view the trade, presenting more information, because the truth is the basic, most important function of being able to buy and sell is the most important thing. Everything else is a plus. Just like with a car, once a car drives you from point A to point B, the car has fulfilled its purpose. But different cars have different features and different things that you may buy the car for, but all cars have one basic thing in mind: they drive. So the platform fulfills its most basic function. It is able to allow you to buy and sell stocks. It does that really well. I don't think that will change. But I think what they try to do is make some things convenient for you. Because I would love to see the trades for the day and being able to see that refreshing in real time in terms of the queue. Seeing when the stock halts and when it will be released. It's simple things like that. It's not any big thing, but there's still things that we've wanted to, that felt like low hanging fruit, right? So but yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like eating bun without cheese. Oh my gosh, I never saw that part, but it's you, Sean. So I don't put it past you to say something. That I wonder what you guys will say when we release our app. I wonder what you'll say, right? Because we've been looking at something for a while, and we will see, right? Because of course we have to try to do something that is valuable to the market, because My Money J is there. They do a pretty good job of what they do. So of course, we're looking at some other things that we think can add value to our community specifically. So that's what we're looking at. But it's just the process of getting feedback, in making updates, doing pleasing people is what I'm here thinking about. That when we release that, I can just imagine the feedback, right? Loving, yes, you are late. I'm about to end the stream in 2 minutes. But we spoke about Dolphin Cove's dividend consideration, how much I'm thinking that they will pay. So you certainly want to watch that if you're a Dolphin Cove shareholder. We spoke about JTrader. I think they have a short video here. Okay, I didn't see this video, guys. Didn't see this one.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, JSE, has officially relaunched its JTrader Pro platform, reaffirming its commitment to providing a seamless, modern, and efficient online trading experience. Originally introduced in May 2015, JTrader Pro has now been enhanced and relaunched a decade later with a host of upgraded features. Speaking at the launch at the JSC headquarters in downtown Kingston earlier today, JSC's managing director Dr. Marlene Street Forrest says the platform is now connected to 25 countries, demonstrating its expanding global footprint. She also emphasized that over the last decade, the JTrader Pro platform has seen substantial growth.
In 2015, we had 5 brokers participating, and in a lackluster way, would you say, Suzette? And then now in 2025, we have 10. What strikes me more than ever, too, is the volume of trades, 23 million in 2025. And here we are today, 789.7 million in terms of volume traded. Where the rubber hits the road, though, is where value is traded. And in 2015, we had 76 million in value traded. And you cannot hardly call these figures now. Today, we have in value traded $2.4 billion.
Dr. Street Forest also outlines some of the upgraded features.
That was great to see, by the way. $789 million traded, right? So that's, again, covers the basics of what they do, and they're able to generate that revenue. That's great. Exactly. I'm sure you'll be happy because if that dividend is announced, you're gonna be able to get, so especially if you bought today at $11. Yeah, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good. Progress is progress for sure. All right, everyone. I don't know when I'll be able to do a stream again. I'll say here that, again, I think everybody knows this, especially if you follow us on social media, but we have expanded our family. And so we're juggling 2 boys now instead of 1. So we're still trying to learn the rhythm. Our youngest son is just 2 months old. Yeah, 2 months old this week. And so we're still trying to figure out how to balance his sleep and all of that stuff. So I can't predict my streams anymore because our oldest son, it's simple to manage him, right? So we put him to bed by 8:39 each night. I can go live. But now with our youngest son, I'm almost thinking that he's awake in the room right now. So I need to go and help Renee. But thank you. It's been great. It's been great. It's been great. I'm happy to be a father now twice over, and I'm, I'm actually working on a Lego set with my oldest son because we have this Lego thing going. I wonder if I can show you guys. I'll put it up already, but we've been buying Legos, building them together. I bought him the Hot Wheels set, so he loves that. He loves monster trucks. So if you saw my YouTube feed just now, that was actually, these are the songs he likes to watch, right? So he's looking forward to his Ultimate Garage and his Tiger Shark and his Hot Wheels. And so just balancing work, balancing the content and the community, and balancing marriage has been fun. So that's why I can't tell you that I'm going live on X days anymore, because I really don't know. I really don't know when I'll be able to go live. Anything planned for the community? Absolutely. So next week, Saturday is our monthly call. The community call is actually, I think, next week as well. And we had our first grow your business community call yesterday. So Renee hosted that. We had a great presenter. I think Candice was there. So we went through that. We have things planned for sure, and we're gonna be launching something later this year that I'm very, very excited about. So yeah, thanks everyone. As soon as things are finalized, maybe you'll be able to meet the family. Because we're foster parents, and our youngest son, we're actually adopting him. So the adoption is not finalized yet. Once it's finalized, then we can introduce him. But he's been great. He's been great. He's not listening to me when I tell him to stop crying. He's only 2 months old, but he needs to listen to me, right? Because I need to lay down the law here, and he needs to, respond. Yeah, last night was great. I'm happy that I wasn't the one hosting. So Renee did a great job. But stay tuned. A lot is coming for the community as well. but you'll hear more about that as it comes. But we're working on some things now that will be helpful, I think, for everybody involved, right? We're working on some new partnerships as well, and so we're happy about the future of LGI, is what I'll say. Yeah. Listen, yeah, we can talk. I don't know if you have kids, Loveen, but yeah, the joys. Listen, it's made me happier than all the money I've made on the market. Honestly, I think the day that I first held him, like we brought him home from the hospital, and I held him, like I pretty much cried. I'll just be honest, like I cried. It's we've wanted a family for years and never thought we would be able to have kids of our own. And when we prayed and the Lord led us to foster care and adoption, we're like, well, we never thought about that before. And we heard all the stories, you know, that it takes long, you shouldn't do it. We heard persons were waiting 10 years or 15 years to adopt. And within 3 months of us signing up, we got our first placement. And now 3 years later, we're able to, you know, adopt. It's been great. So we have family, we have children, right? Two as well. We're still actually hoping for more, because we love children. And so the thought that, you know, actually have a child, or, you know, I'm able to, I don't want to cry on the stream, so I'll stop. But absolutely, my son has changed my mindset on investing. He's made me more decisive. And my oldest son, he is very smart. And so I can't wait to talk about investing with him. I remember the day we were teaching him how to invest. So he's 4 years old. He has his own brokerage account. And so we talked to him about investing. I introduced the concept to him and he was repeating it. I don't think he knows what he's saying, but he's able to repeat, you know, like investing is like planting a seed, and the seed becomes a tree. And when you get fruit from the tree, that's your dividends. And when the tree grows, that's your capital gains. He at least repeated that. And so it made me very hopeful that he'll be able to take on to investing very quickly, and we'll be able to, you know, just leave a great legacy with him. So Kirk, if you seriously want to invest, I think I'd say we're safely at the point where we can just send me an email, send me a message. Let me know how serious you are about investing, because we're kind of finalizing our plans. And the minute we get board approval, because we do have a board, then we likely, you know, do some friends or family or something to raise some capital, because I think we finally found a model that works. And we're having a great year as LGI. We just finished the RPL annual report, and so we're helping them with their AGM now. We just did the dollar earnings call. I think everybody saw that. We're doing other things. Not all of them are seen, and so I think we've been doing it 3 years now. This is our third year being a company. I think I would have shared this before here, but I think learngrowinvest.net is our corporate website. And no, learngrowinvest.net, is that the site? I don't remember. Okay, yes. I didn't remember. Yeah, but this is just some of the work that we do. And you know, we're very proud of our first main market annual reports for LASCO that we did last year. So, you know, check this out. So all of these that you see here are done by us, right? We work very closely with the RPL team, as you know, and So this is something that we've been working on for a number of years, and it's something that we're very proud of, right? So we're building out something that's, I think, going to add value to the market, because we do this for you guys, right? We want to have companies be more transparent and communicating, and something that can lead to a more vibrant market. So these are all of our services, and as I said, we're building out something I think that is going to be pretty good. So here's the truth, Sean, and I've said this to our challenge community already. Anything that we're doing, we're likely going to share it with a small circle first, and any investment is likely going to be shared with our challenge or coaching clients first. And that's because of the value that we want to provide to them. So if we are going to make something available to invest, we'll share it there first. So we have maybe about 10 to 15 persons in our coaching program, and about 50 plus persons in our monthly program. Anything we're presenting will be presented to them first, and then I'm actually confident we'll be able to raise what we need to through them, and then that will take us to a certain point, and then when we're ready to go back for more, you may see something in the wider community. But that's how we're likely to do it, honestly. But at the very least, you can trust that we will make a public announcement that we're going to do that presentation, to at least give everybody an opportunity to be a part of it. That's how we are. So when you say full plan, Sean, we will share what is necessary to get the investment, because we do live in we'll share and answer all the questions you need. What do you mean full plan? I mean, I have a 20-year plan. Let me tell you that. So I don't know if you want to hear all 20 years. I'm happy for you guys. Our responsibility as fathers next to our family. Yeah, absolutely. So you have a 9-year-old son. So you have many much years experience on me. I'm still trying to figure out how to. So my 4-year-old son is doing. I'm wondering if I'm overthinking this, and I'll probably do a video on Father's Day about this or around that time, because I do want to talk to you fathers out there about how you raise your children, how you talk to them about investing. I don't think you guys have ever met my father or my mother. I don't think my father would want to do a live stream, but I'd love to talk. I've never spoken to my father about what his father taught him or what he learned or anything like that, because his father passed away. We went to the funeral together maybe 5 or 10 years ago, and I don't think they had a relationship. And so I wanted to do for my son what my father wasn't able to do for me, probably because his dad never taught him. And that was to teach him how to invest, teach him about business, teach him about how to lead his family and things like that. So yeah. Okay, yeah, Sean. So absolutely, you'll hear. So yeah. So in the challenge community, you will hear what our plans are for the community starting next year. We're gonna revamp it one more iteration, and then on the business side, likely sometime next year or something like that. I don't know, because we're due for a board meeting, and then we go from there. So all right, guys, clearly I miss you guys. It's been a minute. But work is good, family is good. So I hope it's the same with you guys, and please take advantage of the opportunities. I do see some opportunities there. As I said, I've been adding to my portfolio, and I hope you have as well. And for those of you in the challenge community, we'll talk about it. As you know, always share, with you guys what I'm doing, and see you guys real soon. So next week for the monthly meetup next week, and when the JTrader platform goes live, I'll do something. I'll try it out for a day or two, or at least the first day, and do a first impressions video, and then we take it from there. All right. So have a good evening, everyone, and I'll see you soon.
Learning is the key to successful investing, and who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at L.E.A.R.N. Grow Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
and follow us on all social media platforms at Learn, Grow, Invest.